we're in the dog days of summer. It's blistering hot. Trey, sometimes I think the last place I want to be is outdoors. But Arkansas has some pretty unique waterways that can help you beat the heat creatively.
I think you're exactly right. I usually limit my fishing to before 10 a.m. or after about 6 or 7 p.m.
Even then, it's kind of sticky.
But it's still warm, yeah. But we are fortunate to have our cold water releases from the big upland reservoirs, our trout streams, essentially. And then, naturally speaking, we've got our Ozark and Ouachita mountain streams where you can go smallmouth. Now, those still get pretty warm, but the great thing, I mean, when you're up to here in the water, we're doing some wade fishing, it's a lot better. You can take a break from fishing and take a swim. But yeah, our trout streams are really, really great places. The White River, the Bull Shoals tailwater, the Norfolk, the Little Red River, the Beaver tailwater below Beaver Dam. Those are kind of the main ones. But what's great about those, so what allows us to have trout in Arkansas is the cold water releases for hydroelectric generation or just releases from the dam for other reasons. But, that water, even now, it's going to be in the 50s coming out of the dam. So not only, if you want to do some wet wading, you'll actually get a little cold in the toes and ankles, but it is that time of year when you can do some wet wading in our trout streams. And also, the air temperature around there, it's going to be a few degrees cooler if you're out on a boat or standing on the bank or in the water. A great way to beat the summertime heat. And if you've got a young person, I'll tell you a really great place to go. Under the age of 16 or anybody that's mobility impaired can fish a place called Dry Run Creek. It's right at the Norfolk National Fish Hatchery. Enters the Norfolk River, the Norfolk tailwater there right below the dam. It's a very short stretch, but it's cold water, of course. You got giant trout, really, really big trout. And there's canopy everywhere, so it's always a few degrees cooler than it is out in the sunshine.
I tell you, one of the strangest phenomena that I've seen is being out right below one of those dams, middle of July, blistering hot. It's not only cool, but there's fog everywhere.
The bank
it's
of
the
fog.
most surreal thing ever. And it happens all the time.
It is. And we're so lucky to have those trout streams. But great way to beat the heat.
Great way indeed. Okay, let's talk about if you're going to be out and about, whether you're on one of those cool water streams or maybe the Arkansas River, Lake Maumelle, other lakes around the area, how to be safe.
Yeah, like I said, Scott, one of the things that I like to do is go early. I mean, it's light at 5:45, so you can get out there, and that's usually when the best bite is anyway. Or in the evening, a lot of people go to night fishing. There's a lot of night bass tournaments this time of year. So that would be my number one recommendation. But even, if you're out there 9, 10 o'clock, I mean, the sun's pretty intense already by that time. Wear that sunscreen. I mean, it is, I can't tell you how many older anglers I know who are going to the dermatologist to get things cut off all the time, right? So wear that sunscreen. The clothing that's available now is so great. You can wear long sleeve, the hooded stuff, you've got the buffs, you can really get yourself covered. And people have looked at me in the past like, what are you doing wearing a long sleeves out? Hey, it's cool. I mean, it is cooling technology, so there's great apparel out there to help you beat the heat now. And of course, stay hydrated. I mean, carry lots of water, maybe 3 or 4 times as much as you think you need, and pound that water. Just be safe out there. Watch for signs of, heat exhaustion and, worse than that, heat stroke. But hey, we all want to go fishing. Just be careful while you do it.
You brought up my soapbox. Did you know we see more heat-related deaths than any other weather phenomena in the United States? More than hurricanes, more than tornadoes. It's always heat. People don't expect it.
I know. I have seen some friends get in trouble, doing physical activity in the heat, even at night this time of year, because of our intense humidity. And so watch out for it.
Watch out indeed. Trey, I got to tell you a story. When I was growing up, my childhood job, my dream job was to be a game warden. It didn't happen, but you're telling me that there may be an opportunity I can go chase that dream.
Absolutely. Scott, you're not alone. I mean, probably one of the questions I get and my colleagues get as we travel around the state is, how do I become a game warden? I mean, it's like, it's a cool job. It is a really cool job. We have found there may be a little bit of misunderstanding about exactly what the job is, though.
And what all goes into it.
And what goes into it. It is a law enforcement job, right? Okay. And so one thing we are doing right now is we are inviting people who are interested in working as a game warden for Arkansas Game and Fish to apply to do a ride-along with one of our game wardens.
Okay.
And so The easiest thing to do is go to agfc.com/ridealong, RIDEALONG, agfc.com/ridealong. There's a form there, you fill it out. Now, the ride along is going to happen on August 5th. I say ride alongs. There's going to be multiple, but there are a limited number of spaces that we have, right? Because guys are still out there doing their patrols, right? But you have to have the application in by Monday. So that's July 17th, this coming Monday. Applications, and like I said, it's at agfc.com/ridealong. But really, what it is more than anything is an opportunity. If you think you want to be a game warden, maybe come find out if you really do want to be.
It's like a reverse job interview.
It really is. And, you know, to that point, Scott, I should say, I want to be clear. This is not like for, you know, sure, we hope you have a good time and you want to be a game warden. But this is not just like for the public to, oh, I want to go hang out with a game warden.
People that are curious.
Right, it's not for curiosity, okay?
Got it.
And there will be a vetting process. You know, if you're a felon, if you're not going to get to do it, okay?
Got it.
So this is really a way for folks who have a keen interest in being a game warden to find out through you know, a limited ride along in one day what the job's all about.
If you were to describe the job of an Arkansas game warden in 10 seconds.
Oh, good luck.
I know, right? Because there's a whole bunch of duties.
There's so much that, you know, ultimately you're protecting our natural resources of the state and making sure that folks are playing by the rules, but there's a lot to the job. I mean, you may be involved in search and rescue efforts for a lost hiker in the Ozarks or the Ouachitas.
Happens all the time.
There may be a water rescue situation.
That's right.
So these guys and gals work in a lot of different environments in the job, and I think if you ask our game wardens, that's one of the things they would tell you they like most about the job.
Yep.
It's, you know, no 2 days are the same.
Sure.
I mean, everything's different. I mean, of course, we follow the seasons. Hunting seasons, you're going to be doing that kind of stuff. Boating season, you're going to be out on the water, but the job is a lot of different things.
I bet. Okay, Trey, every week we are asking viewers at home to quiz you. They want to put you on the spot in the hot seat.
Let's do it,
Are you
man.
ready? Got 2 questions for you. The first of which is, what is the penalty for fishing without a license?
That is a great question. It is called a Class 1 violation.
Okay.
And the penalty is anywhere from a fine of anywhere from $100 to $1,000.
Wow.
And actually 0 to 30 days in jail. Don't think many judges are going to throw you in jail for fishing without a license. As a matter of fact, a lot of times, talking about our game wardens, they may not even issue you a ticket if it's an honest mistake. Like it expired yesterday, probably what they're going to do is make you get on your phone and buy a license right there, and then they'll issue you a warning ticket. But $100 to $1,000. It's important to note, Scott, that it's really to the discretion of the judiciary. You know, a judge in the county where the violation occurred is ultimately who will impose that fine. What we do at Game and Fish also is we do have a point system. That's a 6-point violation. If you get 18 points in a 5-year period, you can have your license administratively suspended for up to a year.
We've got time for one more question, but
Yes,
before
sir.
I move on to that, I got to say a fishing license is $10.50.
Pretty cheap.
There's absolutely no reason to fish without a license in Arkansas.
Agreed.
Okay, second question. You recently on the Outdoor Report mentioned this really special place that youth and mobility impaired Arkansans can take advantage of some pristine trout fishing waters. Tell me about it.
That is Dry Run Creek.
Dry Run
It's
Creek.
outside of the Mountain Home area near the community of Norfolk. It's actually right at the base of Norfolk Dam and adjacent to the Norfolk National Fish Hatchery. It is not a very big stream. It is catch and release only, single barbless artificial hook only.
Okay.
But as you mentioned, youth under the age of 16 and mobility impaired anglers, there's lots of great platforms for mobility impaired anglers to fish from. Scott, it may be the best, the highest density of trout anywhere in the world, and probably one of the finest fisheries anywhere in the world. I was just there Thursday, licking my lips, salivating that wishing I could fish it. But
Now you're making me want to go.
I'm too old.
Check it out. Well, say.
We've been talking a lot here on the Outdoor Report about the renovation of Lake Conway, and it's a big infrastructure project for us. About 5 years, and we're going to drain the lake. We're going to allow the soil in there to compact. We've lost about 40% of the volume of the lake, and a lot of people are probably familiar with those general outlines. But the thing that happened on Thursday today is our commission officially approved the lifting of sport fish limits on the lake. You know, as we had our public meetings in Conway and Mayflower a few weeks ago, that was one of the big questions we got. Well, what happens to the fish? You know, now Lake Conway is an impoundment of Palarm Creek. It's about 7 miles from the dam, the Lake Conway Dam, down to the Arkansas River. Some of those fish are gonna, you know, as the lake drains, they're gonna follow that water down to the Arkansas River. So Palarm Creek, Arkansas River, good places to go fishing in the coming months. But Lake Conway is also a great place to go fishing, and so that's gonna allow anglers in Central Arkansas and others from around the state who want to travel in to take advantage of that resource. We don't want it to go to waste, and so we want to lift those limits. Now, there's still restrictions on how you can fish. You know, no electricity, no dynamite, please. But you know, with regular approved fishing methods, we have lifted the limit. So get out there and catch some fish, some great natural organic protein, rich in omega-3 fatty acids.
Yes. So what does that mean for what's next?
Well, you know, the September 1st is when we begin the drawdown of the lake, and we have to do it in a measured way. I mean, we're not going to, it's not going to be, you know, empty the next day, okay?
Yes.
It's going to take several months. A lot of that will depend on rainfall, but we're doing it in a methodical, kind of a trickle out, if you will, to avoid flooding downstream landowners along Palarm Creek, and also to protect our hardwood bottomland timber on Bell Slough Wildlife Management Area, which is directly below the dam there.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that we need to know about it that people should know?
You know, we have some exciting things coming to promote some of that fishing on Lake Conway over the next few months, but I'll save that for a different outdoor report because all the I's are not dotted and T's crossed yet.
That is just fine, but you have another important note for people. It might not be on their minds just yet, but deer hunting, you have a good update for that.
Right. I mean, it'll be here before you know it. I mean, urban archery hunts in many cities around the state start in September 1, but archery season later on in September, then muzzleloading and modern gun, of course, as we get into October and November. But there's a deadline for deer hunting coming up that I want to remind folks about. It's a little bit different this year. We typically take applications for wildlife management area deer permits on all of our areas that we own. We have, you know, limit the number of hunters for certain weekends and what have you during deer season. That's the month of July now. So the 31st at 11:59 p.m. is your deadline. I believe that's about 9 days away. So don't forget about that. You got a week essentially left to go to agfc.com and apply for one of those WMA deer hunting permits.
Absolutely. So we've been asking for viewer questions, and we got in two today. And the first one is, when you're motoring your boat, say around 30 miles per hour, do you have to have your life vest on?
It is not a legal requirement to wear your life jacket if you are over the age of 12. Now, children 12 and under must have a life jacket on at all times when they're on a boat. Now, that said, you do have to have a life jacket for every individual in the boat. Just put the thing on. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're going 10 miles an hour or 50 miles an hour. If you hit an obstruction or another boat strikes your boat, you know, even if you're a great swimmer, if you know, take a blow to the head and you're unconscious, that you know, it doesn't matter how well you can swim. Wear your life jacket and also wear that kill switch. It's a device that goes from your motor usually to your life jacket or to your belt loop or whatever, that if you are ejected from the boat, it will turn that motor off so you won't be struck by the moving prop and perhaps incur even greater injury.
Absolutely. So always wear it. It's just better safe than sorry.
Wear it. I mean, just wear that life jacket. It's just like the seatbelt in your car, the #1 line of defense against any kind of accident on the water. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And then we have another question, and that one is, do senior citizens pay for hunting and fishing licenses?
They do, but we have a unique program here in Arkansas. You can, once you turn 65 years old, the year, anytime within the year, like if you turn 65 in 2023, say it's not until December, you could go ahead now and buy what we call the 65 plus lifetime license. Same price, fishing license is $10.50, $25 for a hunting license, or the combo hunting fishing, which is $35.50. The difference is when you're 65 and you buy that license, you never have to buy it again. It's good for the rest of your life. You just have to bring proof of age, and you have to be an Arkansas resident for 1 year.
That's not bad at all.
It's a heck of a deal.